Kennedy Space Center, Florida, November 14th, 1969. What's below the surface of the moon?
One of the big lunar mysteries that the Apollo astronauts were hoping to at least answer in part was what is inside the moon.
For centuries, we've gazed at the moon, thinking it's just a silent rock in the sky. But what if it's not? What if the moon is hiding a shocking secret? An ancient, massive spaceship? Strange evidence has surfaced that could completely change everything we know about our closest neighbor. What if we've been looking at it all wrong? Could this be the greatest discovery of all time? The spaceship moon hypothesis and its origins. Imagine you're staring up at the moon, the same glowing orb that has hung in our night sky for as long as humans have existed. Its serene glow a constant in our night sky. But what if this familiar celestial body harbors secrets beyond our wildest imaginations? We've been told it's just a natural satellite, a big rock floating around Earth. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the moon isn't just a moon, but something much, much stranger? Some believe it's not natural at all. In fact, according to the spaceship moon hypothesis, our moon might actually be an ancient alien spacecraft, parked in orbit for reasons we can only guess. This idea didn't just pop up in some sci-fi movie. It was actually proposed in 1970 by two Soviet scientists, Michael Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov, who took a long, hard look at the moon and thought, something doesn't add up. They suggested that the moon was hollowed out by an advanced civilization and turned into a massive spaceship, possibly for observation, or something even more mysterious. Sounds wild, right? But here's where it gets interesting. For starters, the moon's orbit is weird. Unlike most natural satellites, which tend to wobble a little, the moon is locked in what's called synchronous rotation, meaning it always shows us the same face. No matter where you are on Earth, you'll never see the far side of the moon without a spacecraft. Some say this perfect alignment is just a coincidence, the result of tidal forces over millions of years. But others argue that it's just too precise, almost like the moon was intentionally placed there. Could it be that someone or something engineered this setup on purpose? Then there's the matter of the moon's density. It's noticeably lower than Earth's, sitting at about 3.3 grams per cubic centimeter compared to Earth's 5.5. Scientists say this is because of the moon's different composition, but some theorists take it a step further. They claim that if the moon isn't as dense as expected, maybe that's because it's hollow. In fact, during the Apollo missions, astronauts set off explosive charges to measure seismic activity, and NASA reported that the moon rang like a bell for over an hour. This has fueled speculation that the moon isn't solid all the way through, which of course raises even more questions. But if the moon was placed there by someone, who put it there and why? The spaceship moon hypothesis suggests that it could have been an alien race, using the moon as a base to watch over Earth. Some even speculate that our entire history has been influenced by these unknown observers, shaping civilizations without us even realizing it. Of course, mainstream scientists don't buy it. The leading explanation for the moon's formation is the giant impact hypothesis. This theory suggests that billions of years ago, a Mars-sized planet named Theia slammed into Earth, sending debris into space that eventually formed the moon. This idea makes a lot of sense and is backed by strong geological evidence. But here's the thing, if the moon was just leftover space junk, why does it have so many odd properties? Some say the numbers don't fully add up, leaving room for speculation. At the end of the day, we don't have all the answers. The moon is still full of mysteries, and while the spaceship moon hypothesis might sound like something out of a sci-fi novel, it keeps popping up because, well, something about the moon just feels off. Whether it's a natural satellite or something far more bizarre, one thing is certain. It's watching over us, just as we're watching it. The moon's origins might be debated, but what's even more puzzling, the strange anomalies recorded over the years. From bizarre lights flashing on its surface to unexplained seismic activity, scientists and researchers have documented countless oddities that defy easy explanations. Could these anomalies be clues to something much bigger? Something hidden beneath the surface? Lunar anomalies and unexplained phenomena. The moon has always captivated humankind with its mysterious presence, casting its silver glow over us night after night. But over the years, some strange anomalies have surfaced that have made people wonder if there's more to our lunar companion than meets the eye. Some of these peculiar phenomena have sparked wild theories, causing many to ask, could the moon actually be something other than a natural satellite? The moon's strange behavior has left us questioning its true nature, and it's easy to see why. One of the most fascinating things that keeps scientists and conspiracy theorists on their toes is the moon's seismic activity. In the early days of space exploration, during the Apollo missions, astronauts placed seismometers on the moon to measure its geological activity. What they discovered was nothing short of bizarre. When the astronauts deliberately impacted the moon's surface with spacecraft, the moon didn't just experience the typical seismic tremors you'd expect. Instead, it rang like a bell, with vibrations that lasted far longer than expected. What could cause such a strange reaction? This unique phenomenon raised more than a few eyebrows and led to theories suggesting that the moon could be hollow or have an artificial structure inside. Some even speculated that the moon was designed to resonate in such a way, much like a spacecraft would, which is why it vibrated in such an unusual manner. And this isn't the only anomaly. There's more that doesn't quite add up. But seismic activity isn't the only thing making people question the moon's natural origins. If you look at the moon's surface, there are all kinds of oddities. Some of these anomalies are hard to ignore. Take the Aristarchus anomaly, for example. This is a particularly reflective area on the moon that catches the eye of astronomers and conspiracy theorists alike. The brightness of this spot is unlike any other part of the moon's surface. Could it be that this region is somehow engineered? Some suggest that the area's reflectivity is due to materials used by an advanced civilization, materials that might have been designed for a specific purpose. Whether it's an intentional reflection or some other kind of structure, the presence of such an unusual and highly reflective spot raises some eyebrows. It's the kind of feature that doesn't quite fit with the rest of the lunar landscape and hints at something more complex than just a chunk of rock. And it doesn't stop there. The moon has some truly strange surface features that have left scientists scratching their heads. For example, photographs taken by lunar probes have revealed what some describe as large, tower-like formations on the moon's surface. One of the more famous examples is a structure known as the Shard. This spire-like object stretches up for miles, and it's not something you'd expect to find on a typical, naturally formed moon. So what exactly is it? Some researchers have suggested that this could be the remnants of an ancient alien structure, which raises even more intriguing questions about the moon's history. Was the moon once inhabited, or is it just a giant space vessel designed and left behind by a long-lost civilization? The debate rages on, but one thing's for sure. These strange formations definitely don't fit the profile of what you'd expect from a natural satellite. But what about the moon's magnetic field, or lack thereof? Now here's another interesting tidbit. The moon doesn't have a global magnetic field like Earth. In fact, this is one of the key reasons why scientists have long considered the moon to be geologically dead. But here's the catch. There are localized magnetic fields scattered across the lunar surface. These areas of magnetism are puzzling because they don't match up with what we know about how planets and moons typically form. On Earth, a global magnetic field is generated by the planet's liquid iron core, which moves around and generates a magnetic force. The moon, on the other hand, doesn't have a liquid core. So how can it have localized magnetic fields? Some experts have suggested that these magnetic anomalies could be the result of ancient asteroid impacts that magnetize certain areas of the moon's surface. Others believe that this could be evidence of an ancient global magnetic field that has since died out, leaving behind these odd little patches. Regardless of the cause, the existence of these magnetic anomalies raises more questions about the moon's true nature and whether it might be something more than just a natural object floating around in space. Now, if you think the moon's seismic activity, surface anomalies, and magnetic quirks are strange, there's also the issue of the moon's very composition. When you think about what makes up the moon, one of the most intriguing aspects is its lower mean density compared to Earth. Normally, we expect celestial bodies to have a similar density throughout, but the moon's lower density suggests something is different. Some have argued that this could be another clue that the moon is hollow, or at least has an artificially modified interior. There's even a theory that the moon was placed in orbit by an alien race to serve as a kind of spacecraft or base of operations. Imagine it, a huge, hollow object in space, purposely designed to be where it is, perhaps as a part of a long-forgotten mission. It's a fascinating thought, and it's one that some people believe the evidence points toward. As technology continues to advance, new discoveries about the moon are still being made. For example, recent missions have uncovered more about the moon's surface and its composition. The discovery of a mysterious metal structure deep beneath the moon's surface, for instance, adds to the growing list of anomalies that could point to something far more complex than we originally thought. In 2023, scientists uncovered a giant mass beneath the moon's surface that weighs more than 2 billion tons and is larger than the state of Hawaii. This mass, discovered in a region called the moon's far side, is unlike anything seen before. Some believe this could be a remnant of an ancient impact or perhaps something else, something deliberately placed there. It's clear that the moon isn't quite as simple as it first appears. Every new discovery adds another layer of mystery to the ongoing debate about its true origins. Is the moon just a natural object caught in Earth's orbit, or is there something much more to it? The truth is still up for debate, but one thing's for sure: the more we learn about the moon, the more questions arise. Whether it's seismic activity, mysterious surface features, or unusual magnetic fields, the evidence continues to suggest that there's far more to our lunar companion than we ever imagined. So next time you look up at the moon, just remember, you might be staring at something far stranger than you think. As captivating as the idea of the moon being an artificial object might be, not everyone is on board with this theory. There are plenty of scientists who argue against it, offering up their own explanations for the strange anomalies we've observed. Let's dive into some of the counter-arguments and see why they believe the moon is just a natural object after all. Scientific counter-arguments and explanations. While the idea of the moon being an artificial object might sound exciting, the scientific community has some solid explanations for the oddities we see on our lunar neighbor. Instead of aliens or ancient civilizations hiding behind these anomalies, there are natural processes at play that can explain what we're seeing. Let's take a closer look at some of these supposed mysteries and how science has worked to demystify them. For example, some people point to the strange formations on the moon, like the so-called shard and the tower. These odd shapes, which have sparked plenty of theories about them being remnants of alien structures, might actually just be natural rock formations. Over the moon's long history, it has experienced a lot of volcanic activity. Imagine lava bursting through the surface and then cooling down into strange shapes that stand the test of time. It's not that hard to believe that the moon, with its volcanic past, could have given rise to some pretty strange-looking natural features. In fact, geologists believe these formations are simply the result of ancient volcanic processes, and nothing more than what you'd expect on a planet with a fiery history. Now let's talk about those weird seismic readings that have made some people think the moon is ringing like a bell. You've probably heard about the Apollo missions, where astronauts deployed seismometers that picked up unusual seismic vibrations, especially after impacts. These vibrations, which seem to last longer than what we'd expect from something like Earth, have made people scratch their heads. But here's the thing: those long-lasting seismic waves don't mean the moon is hollow or artificial. They're actually a product of the moon's unique structure. Unlike Earth, the moon doesn't have a liquid core, and its crust is much less fractured. So when seismic waves travel through the moon, they don't get absorbed or scattered the way they would on Earth. Instead, they can travel much farther and last longer, creating that ringing effect. It's simply the way seismic activity works in a body that's a little different from our home planet. And then there's the mystery of the moon's magnetic anomalies. Some spots on the moon's surface exhibit unexpected magnetic fields, even though the moon doesn't have a global magnetic field like Earth does. This has led to all sorts of theories about strange forces at play. But don't be fooled. There's a much simpler explanation for these magnetic anomalies. They can actually be traced back to the moon's regolith, the layer of loose material covering the surface. The regolith on the moon is constantly bombarded by solar wind and cosmic radiation, which gives it a unique magnetic signature. The moon's lack of a global magnetic field doesn't mean there aren't magnetic materials on the surface. These localized anomalies are just a product of the moon's exposure to the harsh environment of space and its history of cosmic impacts. Moreover, the moon's gravitational anomalies, particularly the mass concentrations known as maskins, have puzzled scientists since their discovery. These maskins are regions where gravitational forces are stronger than expected, influencing the orbits of spacecraft. The prevailing explanation is that these anomalies are remnants of ancient asteroid impacts. When large celestial bodies collided with the moon, They not only created massive basins, but also introduced dense materials into the moon's crust and mantle. Over time, the gravitational pull of these dense regions has become more pronounced, leading to the observed mascons. So while the moon's strange features might spark our imagination and fuel theories of ancient alien spaceships, the scientific community has solid, natural explanations for what we're seeing. The shard and tower are likely just volcanic rock formations. The seismic vibrations are the result of the moon's internal structure. And the magnetic anomalies are a byproduct of the moon's regolith and cosmic bombardment. The truth is, the more we learn about the moon, the more we realize just how much science can explain. And as our exploration continues, we'll undoubtedly uncover even more answers that help demystify this fascinating celestial body. In the end, it's not aliens that have left their mark on the moon, but natural forces that have shaped it over billions of years. So what do you think? Could the moon really be a spaceship, or is it just nature's mysterious handiwork? With seismic vibrations, magnetic anomalies, and bizarre structures, there's definitely a lot to explore. A rare find on the moon's south pole, China's space program has quietly but steadily grown into a powerhouse. Decades of work have culminated in achievements that were once considered impossible. From the Chang'e missions named after a mythical moon goddess to successfully landing on the far side of the moon, China's ambitions are anything but subtle. And now with their latest mission, they've uncovered something that might make everyone else's accomplishments feel like just a warm-up. Before we delve into this, it's clear that China's discovery is far more groundbreaking than anyone could have predicted. And this won't be the only revelation that will leave you speechless. The discovery was made at the moon's south pole, a location long thought to hold incredible potential due to its vast deposits of water ice. However, China's findings go way beyond ice. Scientists identified a new mineral, tentatively named Chang'e, after the lunar missions, that challenges everything we thought we knew about planetary formation. Early analysis suggests it could reveal untapped resources or even new processes that shaped the moon in the early solar system. And then there's the magnetic anomalies. These strange distortions in the moon's magnetic field hint at a more dynamic geological history than anyone imagined. Let's not forget the implications of water ice. For years, scientists speculated that the South Pole harbored frozen reserves, but China's latest spectrometer readings provide the strongest evidence yet. This isn't just about finding water, it's about what water represents. It's a resource, a lifeline, and the key to a permanent human presence on the moon. Imagine astronauts using the moon itself to generate drinking water, oxygen, and even rocket fuel. This could slash costs for missions to Mars and beyond, making deep space exploration more than a distant dream. But why does this matter so much now? Because space is no longer just about science. It's about power. The moon is quickly becoming a geopolitical chessboard, and the stakes are higher than ever. With its latest breakthroughs, China isn't just chasing old goals. It's creating new ones and leaving other nations scrambling to keep up. NASA's Artemis program has been America's answer to China's rapid progress. The plan? Return humans to the moon and establish a sustainable base. But China's achievements are speeding up the timeline, forcing everyone to rethink their strategies. Rare resources like helium-3 and other materials found on the moon have the potential to revolutionize industries back on Earth. And whoever controls these resources could dominate not just space, but also key sectors of the global economy. Let's be real, the space race has evolved. It's no longer just about flags and footprints. It's about who gets to write the rules for the next century of exploration. And China's latest discovery might just give it the upper hand. As the dust settles on this new revelation, one question looms large. What's next? What other surprises lie beneath the lunar surface? And how far will nations go to uncover them? This is not just about science, it's about reshaping our future. If water ice and minerals like Chang'e can open doors to interplanetary travel and new energy sources, what does that mean for life as we know it? Are we on the brink of a new era where humanity's reach extends beyond Earth? Or will competition over these resources create new divides? The United States is starting to sweat over a growing concern: the idea that someone might grab a chunk of the moon. Sure, there's that Outer Space Treaty from 1967 that says countries can't claim territory up there. But let's face it, who's enforcing it? With China revving up its lunar ambitions, the US is realizing that simply sticking a flag on the moon decades ago might not be enough anymore. Now, it's not just about keeping up. It's about holding ground in a new kind of competition. Could this be the start of another space race, but with far higher stakes? The race is growing as nations focus on control and resources, turning the moon into a stage for something much bigger than exploration. The struggle to lead the lunar frontier. The moon has never been just about science. Back in the Cold War, it was all about proving who had the better tech, the US or the Soviet Union. Now it feels like history's repeating itself, but this time it's the US versus China. And let's be clear, this isn't just about planting a flag or snapping photos. It's about who can dig deeper. Literally, the moon's resources, from rare metals to water ice, could be the keys to shaping the future of space exploration, energy, and even geopolitics. So is it just a friendly competition, or something much more intense? It's hard to ignore how space has shifted from a place of wonder to another stage for power struggles. For decades, space exploration was about advancing science and dreaming big. Now it's a critical domain for national security and global dominance. As China keeps pushing forward, the US and its allies are scrambling to keep up, throwing around terms like cooperation and partnerships to build a united front. Programs like the Artemis Accords are aiming to create some kind of international rules for lunar exploration. But can they actually keep up with China's pace? What happens if the rules don't matter anymore? Meanwhile, scientists are buzzing about China's latest lunar discoveries. On one hand, there's excitement over what this could mean for understanding planetary geology and the moon's hidden treasures. On the other, there's frustration. China has a habit of keeping its data under wraps, which doesn't sit well with the global research community. Transparency and collaboration sound nice in theory, but what happens when one player refuses to share the playbook? Scientists know they're looking at something big, but they're also cautious, urging patience and rigorous analysis. Could this discovery be the beginning of something groundbreaking, or just another political chess piece? The moon might look close, but it's still holding on to its biggest answers. Despite years of exploration, we've only scratched the surface of what it can teach us. Nations are now pouring resources into making the moon more than just a goal. It's becoming the launching pad for missions to Mars and beyond. But it's not all shiny rockets and dreams of progress. Space exploration comes with its own set of challenges, from tech failures to growing tensions between countries. Are we truly ready for what's next, or are we biting off more than we can chew? China's latest move is a wake-up call, plain and simple. It's a stark reminder that the moon race is far from over, and the stakes are climbing faster than ever. The US and its allies might be talking big, but actions will speak louder than words. The moon holds the potential to unlock answers that could change the course of human history. But who will be the one to hold the keys? And what will they do with that power? Here's the kicker. This isn't just about discovery. It's about money, influence, and control. The moon's resources, helium-3, rare metals, water ice, could fuel technologies that redefine how we live on Earth and beyond. Helium-3 alone has been hyped as a potential game changer for clean energy, capable of powering entire nations with just a single ton. With China leading the charge, the fear is they might get first dibs on these resources, leaving everyone else in the dust. Imagine a world where one nation controls the future of energy. Is that where we're headed? Let's talk about the lunar economy. Experts are tossing around mind-boggling numbers, predicting it could be worth trillions in the coming decades. But it's not just about mining stuff, it's about building. Habitats, power systems, transport networks. The moon could become a hub for all sorts of space operations, a stepping stone to even bigger ventures. But if one nation corners the market, what does that mean for the rest of the world? Are we prepared for the kind of power struggles that could come with it? With the moon's treasures now in focus, the challenge is to move forward wisely, making progress while protecting what matters most. Mining the moon's riches for the future. Mining resources from the moon is more than just a science experiment, it's a game changer. Imagine building satellites, telescopes, and massive structures right there in space instead of hauling them from Earth. This could save us loads of money and make exploring the universe way more practical. Then there's the wild card, China's discovery of a new mineral, Chang'e, that's unlike anything on Earth. What if this mineral is the key to revolutionary tech or fuels new industries? It's not just about digging up rocks, it's about reshaping how we think of space itself. And the moon's South Pole? That's where things get really serious. The South Pole region isn't just icy, it's like a jackpot of water ice. Breaking it down gives you oxygen and hydrogen, which means breathable air and rocket fuel. Basically, survival and progress in one. Picture a moon base where astronauts don't just live but thrive, refueling their crafts for trips to Mars or beyond. NASA, the European Space Agency, and companies like SpaceX have big plans for this area. But China's already staking claims, and if they secure that region, they'll have a massive edge in this cosmic gold rush. Is this the beginning of a lunar power struggle? Private companies aren't sitting on the sidelines either. SpaceX, Blue Origin, and others are racing to make the moon their next business frontier. From mining resources to building infrastructure, they're turning space into a market. SpaceX's Starship could ferry humans and cargo across the solar system, while Blue Origin's Blue Moon is all about lunar landings. The competition is fierce, but it's also shifting how the world approaches space. Are we looking at the dawn of a commercial space revolution, or just chaos as everyone tries to grab their share? Of course, not everything about mining the moon is all sunshine and progress. There's the messy ethical side to think about. Who owns the moon's resources? Should companies and nations profit from something that's supposed to belong to everyone? The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 tried to lay down the law, but it left big gaps, especially around resource extraction. With no clear rules, the moon could turn into a free-for-all. And let's not forget the environmental impact. Mining operations could kick up harmful dust and mess up an environment that, while barren, is still unique and fragile. Are we about to ruin something priceless in our rush to exploit it? Then there's the moon's role in science. It's not just about making money, it's about understanding our closest celestial neighbor. Anomalies in the moon's magnetic field hint it might have once had a magnetic dynamo like Earth. What does that mean for how the moon formed? And that Chang'e mineral? Studying it could unlock things about the moon's geological history. Even the water ice raises questions. Did it come from comets or asteroids? Or did it form there? These answers could shape how we explore space, but will we prioritize science over profit? Let's not ignore the bigger picture. The moon has always been more than a rock in the sky. It's a symbol of human ambition. But as we gear up to explore it, we're also shaping our legacy. Will we innovate responsibly, or will the moon become another playground for greed? The discoveries we make on the moon could inspire the next generation or leave them with nothing but regret. As China's breakthroughs remind us, the moon's not a relic, it's the next big frontier. The question is, will we handle it wisely, or will we let ambition blind us to the consequences? In a way, we're standing on the edge of a new era. The moon isn't just a destination anymore. It's a springboard to the stars, a hub of innovation, and a treasure trove of resources. China's discoveries are forcing the world to pay attention, and the race is on. But this isn't just about winning, it's about setting the tone for humanity's future in space. Are we ready to rise to the challenge, or are we setting ourselves up for a cosmic disaster? Whatever happens, one thing's clear. The moon holds the key to what comes next, and it's up to us to decide how we use it. The first space race shaped the world, and now the same fight is starting again, only on a much bigger scale. The space race that changed the world. The space race was like a fiery showdown between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War, both vying to prove who was the ultimate tech powerhouse. This wasn't just about flying rockets, it was about showing off power and ambition. And let's be honest, keeping everyone else on edge. Both nations realized early on that rockets were more than just toys. They could shape the future, control the skies, and dictate global dominance. And what kicked it all off? A little metal ball named Sputnik. Sputnik 1, launched by the Soviet Union on October 4th, 1957, was a game changer. Imagine the shock of hearing that beep-beep sound from space. Suddenly, the Soviets weren't just testing rockets, they were putting stuff in orbit while everyone else was just looking up at the stars. It was a wake-up call for the United States, who scrambled to catch up. Less than a year later, they launched Explorer 1, and let's just say the race was officially on. The Soviet Union didn't stop there. A month after Sputnik 1, they launched Sputnik 2 with Laika, a stray dog turned astronaut. While the mission wasn't exactly humane, poor Laika didn't make it back, it proved that living beings could survive, at least for a while, in space. Meanwhile, the United States was still fumbling around, trying to get their rockets to fly straight. It wasn't until January 31st, 1958, that they launched their first satellite, Explorer 1, which found the Van Allen radiation belts. A cool discovery, sure, but they were still trailing behind. By now, the United States realized they needed a proper team to handle this space stuff. Enter NASA, officially formed on July 29, 1958. NASA became the brain behind all things space in America, with one goal: beat the Soviets. Meanwhile, the Soviets were showing off again. In 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space, orbiting Earth in Vostok 1. This was a massive flex, and the United States felt it. Their response? Alan Shepard's suborbital flight a few weeks later. Impressive, but still not in orbit. Then came President John F. Kennedy with his bold proclamation: America was going to the moon. Not someday, not in a distant future, but by the end of the 60s. That's like saying you're going to climb Everest before you've even hiked a hill. But this moon mission, dubbed the Apollo program, became the ultimate focus. The United States threw everything at it: money, brains, and sheer willpower. Meanwhile, the Soviets were keeping the pressure on. They sent the first woman, Valentina Tereshkova, to space in 1963, proving they weren't slowing down. But while the Soviets celebrated inclusivity, the Americans were working on their Gemini program. This was the training ground for the moon missions, testing everything from docking spacecraft to spacewalks. By the mid-60s, the United States had finally started catching up, and Gemini laid the groundwork for Apollo. Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. The Apollo program faced its darkest day on January 27, 1967, when a fire during a pre-launch test eliminated 3 astronauts. This tragedy forced NASA to rethink safety measures, and it showed just how dangerous space exploration really was. But setbacks didn't stop the momentum. In 1968, Apollo 8 became the first manned mission to orbit the moon. It was like a dress rehearsal for the main event. And then, on July 20th, 1969, the world held its breath as Apollo 11 landed on the moon. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the lunar surface, while Michael Collins orbited above in the command module. Those grainy black and white images of Armstrong's one small step were watched by millions. It wasn't just a win for the United States, it was a win for humanity. But let's not forget, this was also a major victory in the space race scoreboard. After Apollo 11, the United States continued its lunar adventures. Between 1969 and 1972, 5 more Apollo missions touched down on the moon. Each brought back new scientific data and showed off American ingenuity. The Soviets, meanwhile, were struggling. Their giant N-1 rocket, meant to rival the Saturn V, kept failing. Eventually, they shifted their focus to space stations and robotic missions, areas where they could still excel. The space race didn't end with a big finish. Instead, it slowly morphed into cooperation. In 1975, the Apollo-Soyuz test project brought astronauts and cosmonauts together for a joint mission. It was a symbolic handshake in space, showing that even rivals could work together. This set the stage for future collaborations, like the International Space Station. The space race left a legacy far beyond who won or lost. It sparked innovations in technology, medicine, and engineering. It inspired generations to dream bigger and reach further. And while the Cold War tensions fueled it, the space race ultimately showed what humanity could achieve when we pushed the boundaries of the possible. But here's the kicker. Did it really end, or is the race still on, just in a different form? Is China's moon discovery just a scientific breakthrough? Or could it be the beginning of a new race for global dominance in space? Could this discovery give China an edge the rest of the world may never recover from? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.